What's the real difference between just being busy and being truly indispensable? We often think it's all about raw talent, but the secret is actually something anyone can learn. Today, we're going to break down the 5 core principles that will make you the go-to person on any team, the one they just can't imagine succeeding without.
Think about it. We've all had those weeks, right? Your calendar is packed, the to-do list just keeps growing. You feel so busy, but are you actually being valuable? It's a really important distinction, and the difference isn't what you might think.
Because here's the thing, it's not really about being the naturally gifted genius in the room. The one with all the brilliant ideas right off the bat. That stuff gets attention, for sure. But it isn't what creates lasting, deep value.
The real secret isn't some single heroic action. It's a system. It's all about consistent, repeatable behaviors that build trust, that solve problems, and that make everyone around you better. So let's start with the foundation for all of them.
All right, principle number 1, and this is the absolute bedrock of everything else. Listen to understand. Not to reply, not to debate, not to win an argument, but to genuinely get where the other person is coming from.
Let that sink in for a second. How often do we jump in with advice, with a solution, when all someone really needed was to feel heard? When you truly listen, you don't just solve one problem, you build trust, you reduce conflict, and you empower people to find their own solutions. That is incredibly powerful. And putting this into practice is way simpler than it seems. Instead of jumping in with your own idea, just try asking a simple clarifying question. And maybe the most powerful action of all, put the phone away. In a world of constant distraction, giving someone your full, undivided attention is a rare and deeply valuable gift. So, once you really start listening, you'll begin to notice all the little things that others miss. And this leads us directly to our second principle: solve the small problems. This is all about fixing those tiny, everyday frustrations that slow everybody down. Here is the key difference, okay? Most people see a small, recurring pain point, like a confusing spreadsheet or a clunky process, and they just complain about it, or worse, ignore it. But the indispensable person, they see that same little bit of friction, and they just quietly fix it, once and for all, making life just a little bit easier for everyone. This right here, this question unlocks so much progress. You don't need a fancy title or some grand permission to make things better. You just need to build the habit of asking yourself, okay, what's the next smallest helpful action I can take right now? All right, so you've listened to understand, and you've started quietly solving those small problems. Now what? Well, principle 3 is where you really start to scale your impact. Share what you know. Don't be a knowledge hoarder. It's not about using complicated jargon to sound smart. The real pros, the true experts, can break things down so that anyone can get it. When you do that, you save the entire team time, you prevent mistakes, and you empower everyone to be more independent. Because knowledge that's just stuck in your head, it helps absolutely no one. This can be as simple as writing a quick 2-paragraph how-to guide when someone asks a question. But you know what's maybe the most powerful way to do this? Share what you learned from a mistake you made. That kind of humility builds incredible trust. The whole goal is just to teach with patience, making people feel smart for asking, not silly for not already knowing. All these principles we've talked about, listening, solving, sharing, they're all built on a foundation of trust. And that brings us to principle number 4, which is really the cornerstone of that trust. Be the reliable one.
Look, talent is flashy, it gets you noticed. But reliability? That's what gets you trusted. It's the simple, powerful act of doing what you say you're going to do. When people know they can count on you, no matter what, they will always want you on their team. Think of it like the currency of your professional relationships.
And building this reputation just comes down to a few simple habits. Consistently underpromise and overdeliver. If a deadline starts to slip, be the first one to communicate it. Don't wait for somebody to have to chase you down. And see every task all the way through to the end, because mostly done isn't done. And that brings us to our final principle, the one that really ties everything together and elevates your value to a whole new level. Lift others up.
This is the ultimate mindset shift right here. Your goal isn't just about your own success anymore. It's about the success of the people around you. When you actively help your colleagues grow and hit their goals, the entire team's capacity increases, and your own value just skyrockets as a result.
Putting this into practice can be really simple. Publicly praise a teammate for their great work in a meeting, offer to help someone who looks swamped without expecting anything back, and genuinely celebrate their victories as if they were your own.
This is how you build a culture where everyone can thrive.
So, let's do a quick recap. Listen to understand, not just to talk. Solve the small, annoying problems that others ignore. Share what you know to empower the whole team. Be the reliable one that people can always count on. And finally, lift others up, because a rising tide lifts all boats.
So I'll leave you with this one question, bringing us right back to that second principle. You don't have to boil the ocean. You don't have to change everything overnight. Just look around you right now. What is the one small helpful thing you can do today to put these principles into action? Because that's where it all begins.